Pam and Larry are in the house, and today we give them the keys and they run the show.
Church. Family. Theology. News. Entertainment. Evangelism. If it's Christian, then we're talking about it. This is the Mike Charleston Podcast.
All right, welcome to the Mike Charleston Podcast. This is Mike Charleston, and I am here with Sarah.
Hello,
my
everybody.
wife, and Josh is behind us. Joshua is doing the music and the board and all that. Today is going to be a little bit different. Larry and Pam are in the house, like we said on the intro there, if you're watching on YouTube. Larry and Pam are in the green room. They're waiting, and they're going to come on, and they're going to tell us a little bit about their story. People want to hear more about them. I tend to talk a little much.
Just a little.
And sometimes you want to get to know someone else a little bit more. So we're kind of we had a really busy week. They've come to visit, and we'll tell you why in just a second. But they're going to tell us their little story, how they met, a little bit about themselves. And but in the meantime, we're going to tell about our week a little bit. And let's just start first at the Day of Fellowship Friday.
Yep, got up early Friday morning and drove about 3 hours to Ragley,
Louisiana.
which is just north of Lake Charles. And got to go to a Day of Fellowship there with, I don't know how many people were there. I'm really bad at numbers, but it was a good crowd.
It seemed like between 100 and 150 people were there, and I got to meet some of the listeners out there. Yeah. So if you're still listening, I'm sure you are. But I know I met Chad. I didn't know he was a listener, so I'm glad he's out there. The consultant was there, so we got to talk. Yeah. Jared was also there with more of his questions. But anyway, it was a great time. We got to meet people. Larry got to preach Friday afternoon, and we got to sing some songs and played volleyball and ate. And as Michael Thornton likes to say, adults know how to do two things, and that is talk and eat. And we did both of those.
Yeah, lots of it.
We did lots of it. So anything else to stick out with you on Friday in particular?
Not really. It was just a good day of fellowship. Got to have some good conversations with people that I didn't really know very well that I had met at another event. But anyway, so just a really good time. Yes. And so the next day we stayed the night. This was kind of a weekend event. The Scoggins family, they like to do what they call the couchandole. If you're not from Louisiana, you might like, what did you just say? It's French. It's French for pig roast, basically. Anyway, it's a pig roast, and we get together. Lots of people show up from all over the area, and it's just a really fun time. They have a skeet shooting thing. They try to wrestle a pig to put a T-shirt on the pig. I did not do any of that. Just a lot of food. The best thing there, the best food they have there are these deer sausage that are wrapped in bacon and jalapenos. They weren't jalapenos this time. They were bell peppers. Still fine. Yeah, it was still good. Those are my favorites. Didn't even eat the pig, but no, the Couchon. This is our third Couchon that we've been to. Is it really? Third or fourth, right? Okay, yeah, I guess so. I don't remember. Right. There's so many events, and we've had episodes on this in the past where fellowship. It's very important to get together with other believers and have fellowship. And however you can do that. I know some people have a hard time meeting with like-minded believers. If you're interested, go look on the Fellowship Days website, or is it Fellowship Days? Fellowship Days, fellowshipdays.com. There's events all over. There's shindigs. There's days of fellowship that are throughout the calendar year. So I would encourage you to go. There's a lot of singing, a lot of just a wonderful time of fellowship, and volleyball galore, a lot of volleyball, and a way to meet people and young people to meet other people, which we're going to talk about in just a second. So other than that, that was a good weekend. The weather was actually fine. It was supposed to rain all weekend, and it actually only just rained a little bit. So it wasn't too bad. Looking at the forecasts, we thought it was going to be really bad, but it actually... Not too bad. Yeah, it was all right. Well, the consultant has been listening to the show from day one, big fan of ours, and wants to help out. And so I call him my consultant, and he came and he brought a gift for us. And this is it. I don't know if it's focusing in on it, but the Charleston shoe.
Yes, we get a lot of these because of our last name.
Well, he wanted to get a personalized gift that would mean
Yes.
a little something more. So I can appreciate that. That was really nice.
Yes, he actually got two, one for me
I
and
got
one for
one
Sarah.
too.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that was nice. Thank you, consultant. You got some playtime there. Charleston Shoe. Not everybody has their last name is named after a candy bar, a dance, and a city.
Yeah.
So that's the trifecta right there. So anyway, going back to the Kushan, right before the Kushan, we stayed at a hotel about 20 minutes away, 15 minutes away. The Dutois stayed there with us. We were eating breakfast with them. And you went to go pack.
Right, because I thought it was time to get going.
We got up to get our trash away, and I thought you were with me. And you went to go...
Loaded up the van.
And you were wondering probably where I was.
I was, but
I was shirking my responsibility. Well, I met a guy in the kitchen or in the breakfast area, and he was just talking like, "Hey, where are you from? Are you a missionary or something? Or I don't know if something I was wearing or the way we were acting made him think we're missionaries. I don't know." But I said, "No, we just leave in Baton Rouge, and we were going to this pig roast. And so, what about you?" He's like, "Actually, I'm a preacher, a minister on the border of Mexico and America," and he goes back and forth between the countries. He's part of an independent Baptist church, Spanish-speaking. He plants Spanish-speaking churches. He gave us this. His name is Roy Valez, and got to know him. We spent about half hour to an hour talking to him, and really great guy. And so we might try to hook up with him sometime in the next couple months here and get down there to the border. I know my kids, they've been practicing Spanish and wanting to go down to Mexico. And we actually talked. We kind of knew some people, connected. Like I don't really know too well, and he didn't really know too well, but we knew him.
Yeah.
So other missionaries down there. So it was really cool just eating breakfast at a place, and here you are meeting someone, and there's ministry opportunities maybe in the future. So you should never. You should always be aware of what could happen. I mean, my goodness.
Yeah.
You're just eating breakfast at a hotel room, and there could be someone you could witness to and come to Christ, or another ministry opportunity that you've been hoping for and looking for. We've been looking for Spanish-speaking churches for a while, so we'll try to check out that sometime. And hopefully, if you're watching, if you're listening, it was nice to meet you. We invited him to go to the Kushan, and he thought about it, but I didn't think he'd come. It is a little intimidating to be the only one. You don't know anyone there.
Yeah.
But,
Well, I asked you if you would show up to something if we had just been invited.
Maybe.
I don't know. It'd be
It depends.
pretty difficult.
It really depends. I honestly, I probably wouldn't. But anyway, so no. But the reason we had a really busy week, we've been away, and this week the reason why Larry and Pam they're staying with us the whole week. And so it's really hard for us to prepare for a podcast, for these videos and all that. But so they're going to tell us their story, how they met, and only the reason why we're doing it is because we're here for a wedding. And weddings are fun. Me personally, I don't care. Weddings, they're
they're beautiful.
Just go get married, whatever. But Sarah, girls love them, and it's fun. Well, really close friends of ours, the Tates, they are... And their daughter's getting married, and Cade, he's a listener of the show too. He's gonna tie the knot, and it's exciting. It's really an exciting time when two people come together, and they actually met. How did they actually? They don't like us telling us. So they met online. So it was a video conference thing.
Zoom call.
Yeah, and I think he was in Ukraine at the time.
I think so.
And they didn't really connect there. That's just how they met. And then through a shindig or one of the days of fellowship or a mix of both, they got to know each other and they started talking. And next thing you know, they're getting married. So that is a cool thing. So it's a really exciting thing that these two people are coming together. We wanted to talk about marriage a little bit. We've talked about marriage on the show a good bit. Marriage is important. Marriage is God's plan, right, from the very beginning.
Yeah, a plan that's been thwarted a lot.
Yes, and a lot of people are attacking marriage these days. The devil is definitely attacking marriage, making excuses to break up marriages. Yeah. And I get it. Look, there is problems in our society. There are issues, but God still holds marriage as important. and vital, and is God's plan from the very beginning. We bring children into the world not so we can separate marriages and relationships. And I don't care. We need to make this work as much as possible. And it's God's plan. And it is a wonderful thing when it goes really, really well. When it goes bad, it's really, really bad. And when it's good, it's really, really good. And we're on the good side of things. So hopefully you are too, if you're out there listening or watching. Hopefully everything is going well with you. If not, get help. Don't be afraid to get counsel. There's older people that have been through these battles. There's books out there. Read up, work together. Don't do this separately. This is not the time to be a one-man show. You need to sit down with your spouse, and you need to work this as a unit. You are a unit. Work together as a unit. These are very, very important things when you get married. So yeah, the exciting. This is such an exciting time, and marriage is God's plan. Anything else you wanted to talk about marriage? I mean, this is a wedding.
It's just exciting. Good to see people falling in love and looking forward to the future. And so I'm excited for them. And
what if they didn't fall in love? Would that be all right? Oh, okay.
I think that's a whole big topic in itself.
Yes.
And I think it's good to fall in love.
We were talking a lot about marriage this weekend and exactly what that means. And maybe we'll talk about that sometime in the future. What's coming up in the future, hopefully, is a series we'll hopefully do in the next 4 weeks based on the seasons of life. And if you're curious about that, then pay attention and listen here in the next 4 weeks. But Pam and Larry, so before they get here on the show and they take over and sit down in the seat and you get tired of me, I feel like I'm Dallas Jenkins and people are like, just get off, let us hear them. But if you don't know that reference, then you don't know The Chosen. Pam and Larry, we met them, 15 years ago? And
16.
How old's Joshua? 16?
Yeah,
so
almost 17.
16 years ago. So this was at our first event that we went away to, a big event that was put on since we had homeschooled, except for, I guess, a homeschool convention, but that we went away.
Yeah.
It was in West Virginia, and it was full of Mennonites and Amish, and I thought, oh my goodness, what is going on?
We did feel a little bit out of place.
We were like the only Englishers. And there was another family that was about our age, with a couple little kids, and you got talking to her, and it turned out to be Larry and Pam.
Yeah.
And Pam and Larry, you were talking to Pam. And they invited us over to their place, which they stayed at the resort, and we were staying in a cabin, and ours was much cooler. But we got talking with them, and
became friends. And
played games with them and kind of lost contact here and there because they live in Florida. We lived in Louisiana. We still live in Louisiana. They live in Florida. And there was just, we tried to keep up, but you know how long distance things happen. It kind of goes away. And then about 10 years ago or so at Fort Rock.
Oh, okay, yeah.
At Fort Rock, we kind of reconnected again, and that was in Arkansas. And then over time, about 5 years ago, they've been coming every Thanksgiving.
And several times a year.
Right. And and we enjoy them. We built a room for them, which they are not using this time, so that's fine. But anyway, we really enjoy their family. They are a little bit looser with their lips than I am. So we got to watch.
What do you mean by that?
I don't know, man. They might say something we might have to edit out. So just be aware. We're going to have to listen and make sure they don't say anything inappropriate. I'm just playing with you, Larry. So, but anyway, is there anything else you want to say about Pam and Larry before we introduce them? I guess we are introducing them.
Yeah, we are introducing them.
You are telling the story.
Like you had talked about the chance meeting with the guy at the hotel the other day. And,
right.
And with Larry and Pam, it was just kind of like that. It's like there were a lot of people there, and we just happened to meet and connect with them from Florida. And then years and years later, it's like we're really close friends. So it's kind of amazing how God brings people together. So.
It is. And you just have to pay attention, wake up, you just don't know. And that doesn't mean every gathering or every camp or fellowship or shindig or whatever you go to that you're going to meet a lifelong friend. But we try to, like we said in a previous episode, we try to collect people throughout the years. Every event we go to, we try to collect someone. It's getting tougher to collect people because we know a good number of people, and it's just difficult to keep up on everybody like we should. But anyway, no, it's been really fun to get to know them, and we have a lot in common. We like to play a lot of games and things like that. And then we put them on the podcast, and so me and Larry tend to agree a good bit on theology and everything like that. So I guess that's it. And we'll just get out of here, and then we'll let them take over. So when we come back from the break, it will be Pam and Larry and not Mike and Sarah. So we'll see you soon.
You're listening to the Mike Charleston Podcast.
Hey guys, thank you for listening to the podcast today. If you want to be a part of the show, go ahead and email us at talk@fellowshipofbelievers.org. That is talk@fellowshipofbelievers.org. Leave us a comment, a question, whatever you want to do. Please participate with the show. Thank you.
Okay, we are back. And as you can tell, this is not Mike and Sarah. This is Larry and Pam. We are actually in studio together. I'm sorry, I keep looking at her. It's kind of weird to not look at her while I'm talking.
Larry, what are you doing?
See, I had to do something to get that cue. So anyway.
Got that out of the way.
We got that out of the way. Don't have any earbuds to mess with this time, so I won't be dropping anything. No phone to mess up on. We should be good here. Okay, so we are here actually. We were here in Louisiana for a Kushan and the Day of Fellowship. Great time. But we're actually going to give you our story, correct?
This is right.
All righty. Knowledge. Actually, that reminds me, we're staying here too for another wedding this weekend, and I think it would be so hilarious if somebody got up, you know, the official of the wedding, the pastor or whoever, and they did that. That would just be hysterical. I would be on the floor laughing. But
You keep trying to get one of our kids to do that.
I do. And they look at me and roll their eyes. And
I don't know. One of them might.
One of them, I think, yeah.
Yet to be seen.
Maybe one of the boys. But anyway, we'll see.
I would do it. I think it's funny.
I would definitely do it, but anyway. Okay, so we're going to give you our story and where we came from and how we met and things like that, just to give you a chance to...
Who are you?
Who are you?
No one of consequence.
That's right.
That's us.
Good job back there.
But maybe
That's
you'll listen anyway. We'll try to make some of it interesting.
Right. So we're going to start from the beginning. I was born in No, I'm just kidding. Not that far back. So would you like to go first?
Sure.
Okay.
We were kind of going to start with our backstory and a little bit of childhood. I don't know. Do we know how much time we have?
It'll be fine. Go
Okay.
ahead. Yeah,
Okay.
Give the...
I feel like we could ramble on for hours about all of this, but our real hope was that Mike would leave the studio so that he could listen to his own podcast tomorrow, and it would be like something different that he's never heard before. I think that maybe isn't going to happen, but
you never know.
Okay.
But
Anyway, so I like you came from a rough background. I guess you could say.
Yeah, I'd say yours was a little rougher.
I don't know.
If that's correct.
A lot of people
grammar.
say that you know.
No, it was.
It could always be worse. So
Yeah, right.
anyway, you know, we were loved. Dysfunctional though, neglectful, some abuse, and you know, just some overall not really understanding what's going on in life.
So you would say really not a good, wholesome Christian family?
Not a good, wholesome Christian environment, but you know, that's okay. And it didn't break me, and left a lot to be redeemed. So that's the good story.
You want to tell them where you're from? Are you ashamed of that?
Well, I was born in Monroe, Louisiana, but we moved to St. Petersburg, Florida early. I was probably fourth grade, right before fourth grade. So, and then I lived in St. Petersburg, Florida until I met you. but that would be skipping too far ahead. So we'll wait a little bit on that. How about you?
Well, I was born in St. Petersburg, Florida. I actually, for my childhood, the first couple years, things were kind of normal till we moved to Montana for 8 months. We literally lived in it was a tiny, tiny travel trailer. It was my mom and dad, my 2 sisters, and myself, and 2 dogs.
Like a little silver bullet.
Yeah. 22 size.
Literally.
22 caliber size silver bullet.
Teeny.
It was tiny. We almost froze to death. We almost burned alive because a pillow fell on the heater. Then we left there and ended up in Tennessee, just outside Nashville, my dad's cousins. We stayed in Tennessee for a couple of years and then moved back down to St. Pete. So I was probably, let me think here, I think I was 2nd grade when we moved back, if I remember correctly. It's a long, long time ago.
Was everything in black and white back then?
Almost.
It is
That's
funny.
what my kids thought.
Our kids would ask us that a lot.
My kids. They're our kids.
Thanks.
Yeah, appreciate
Took
that.
a
Yeah,
little part of
I had to
that.
clarify that for some listening.
I did have a little bit to do with that.
But anyway, so life was fairly normal until we moved back, and it went really downhill. Parents started drinking, and it just got ugly and rough for several years after that. I was probably 12-ish, in that range, when my parents, first they were going to get divorced, but then they got saved, and we started going to church, and life changed for us. So that was a big transition there as well.
Yeah. So you were about 13?
12, somewhere between 11 and 13, that
Yeah.
range, from what I remember.
I wasn't until about 18, but we'll get to that too. Well, I guess we are kind of moving.
Yeah,
into
we're
that.
out there. Yeah,
Okay.
so
we have an outline to try to stay on track because it's
I'm
easy
looking
to
at it, so.
easy to go off track. So yeah, you got saved around then, and then.
Well, my parents did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine came later, but.
Yeah, that's true. And then I received Christ when I was about 18. So I'd already been through kind of a rough childhood, and my stepdad left us maybe when I was about 16. And at that point, I went a little bit wild, started looking for love in boyfriends. And
Kind of like that country song, looking for love in all the wrong places.
it was indeed the wrong places. And kind of went off the rails that way some, and then got in with a few friends at school who went to church. They were twins. Their parents made them go to church, and I was invited to go with them, and that was a good thing because that's where I got saved in that little missionary church in St. Petersburg, and it's been different ever since. It's been a total redemption, all the hurt and the pain, and kind of picked up out of the miry clay and set my feet on the rock. So very grateful for that, because I think but for that in my life, I can see where I was going down a slippery slope very fast.
So that brings us up to where we met and how we met. Mm-hmm. And you do a better job telling that story than I do.
Okay.
So
He's not going to leave. He's just not going to leave.
Am I right or am I right or am I right?
Mike, go so we can surprise you tomorrow.
he's
Okay.
all right. Go ahead.
Anyway, we
You
still have
digress.
Mike in the studio, y'all. If you wanna hear from him. I was in high school. I actually dropped out my senior year, the semester before I was to graduate. I dropped out. I said I was on a wrong path there, and that was when I was 17. And and then I got saved that summer. That's right.
Right.
So,
And if I remember correctly, I think, now we didn't go to the same high school, so we didn't know each other in high school.
Which
didn't
was a
meet there.
good thing.
Right. But you had a nickname, if I remember correctly, in high school. Wasn't it the Skip Master? So, am I remembering that correctly?
yeah, sort of maybe. Not that I would like to share that with everybody, but thank you for.
Oh, sorry.
remembering that.
We'll edit that out. not Josh.
It's funny how many things you can't remember, but good for you, honey. You're remembering that one.
You know, pay attention.
Keep using the word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
Yeah.
All right. So
anyway,
you're in high school. You dropped out.
I skipped a lot, and I dropped out. And then I got saved that summer, and I went back, and I was able to finish that last semester into the next school year. They let me finish that, and then I didn't have to do the whole school year. So, but then when I did go back, people noticed a real difference. And so I do feel like I was able to be a bit of a testimony and a light there. And just some neat things happened. God kept using his word for me to share a lot during that time. And I was on fire, you know, when you're newly saved. And so that was really kind of exciting.
And as a time reference, this is about the time where we met. So,
yes.
And right. So
Okay.
you're going to get into
right. That last
what you
semester,
were doing. Yeah, go ahead.
That last semester, I had to do like a work study program where you go to school for half a day and then you go to a job the next half of the day. Well, there was a daycare center right behind my school, and I never did like kids, but after I got saved, I didn't. I was like, I only had one younger sister, and she was only a couple years younger than me, but I started having this love for children, and I can only attribute that to God doing that in my life so that I would go to this daycare center and get a job. I was hired on the spot, which should have told me something, right. But I was young and didn't realize how bad it was there. They would just take anybody. And
you got the job, right? Because a friend of yours had the job, and when she was supposed to show up, she chickened out.
She bailed. She was scared. So, I don't blame her. Trust me, she saved herself a lot of trouble there. But I'm glad I got to go there because I met your sister. And I said I was on fire for Jesus. I had a shirt that said Jesus. That's all it said. I had been to a conference and bought that shirt there. And his sister worked there. Kelly worked there. And she walked by. And it was a busy place. And we really didn't have time for social hour there at all. Wrangling all the little monsters. Oh, sorry. But they were. But anyway, she said, "Oh, I like your shirt." And I was like, that must be a Christian. I got to get to know her. And I did. I got to know her. I worked there 8 whole days, long enough to meet Kelly, Larry's sister. And we just started, our young adult group started doing things, a lot of activities and maybe things like at theme parks and ice skating and stuff like that. And I was like, "Oh, let me get your number because we are doing all these fun things and I'll invite you." And she's like, "Oh, yeah, that'd be great." So you want me to keep going with that?
Well, yeah, go ahead. Because that gets to the good part.
It does. This is the fun part. Okay.
Well, I'll say this. I didn't know. My sister was scheming. I had no idea.
Her one and only time of matchmaking in her whole life, and we didn't know that until after we were married, I think, or at least engaged.
Right.
I don't think she divulged that information until then. So it was a divine matchmaking attempt, I guess, or whatever.
Yeah, it worked.
So anyway, so we're going to this theme park thing. I don't know, some Christian night at a theme park in Tampa. And I called Kelly. I was like, "Hey, you want to go to this thing?" And she's like, "Yeah, that sounds good. Hey, can my brother and sister come?" I'm like, "Yeah, they can come." So they had just adopted another child. I can't remember. Your parents adopted 3. I think at that point it was the second of those 3.
Yeah.
Okay, they had just adopted another child, and they had a family picture, and it was a wallet size. Some of you younger listeners might not even know what a wallet size is.
It's a little thumbnail type.
Little picture that would
a little
fit
bigger in
in a
thumbnail.
wallet. Yeah. I guess they have like Polaroid snapshots now. Maybe something like that. Small little thing. Anyway, she came over to pay for the tickets that we were going to go to on this thing, and she pulled out this picture, and she said, "Oh, I need to show you. We just adopted this little girl, and I need to show you my family." Well, in that picture, her brother's head was like, I don't know, at the end of my finger, maybe my first finger print or something, maybe not even that big. His head's that big. And she goes, "Oh, that's my brother." And she points to him first before she shows me the little girl. And then the strangest thing happened to me, actually, probably the strangest thing in my life. My heart leapt so much that I felt like I was kind of blown across the room. And I thought, I'm going to marry that guy.
Well, I'm glad it happened then and not now, because now you probably wouldn't have seen me at all in the picture.
Why?
Well, they say as you get older, 3 things start to go. First, it's your eyesight, then it's your hearing, and I don't remember the third one. But anyway, go ahead. I digress.
Okay. Okay, so the stranger part about that story is that just within probably that week, I had told the Lord I was going to be a single missionary for him. And that was settled. I had been through some not good relationships before I was saved. Again, looking for love in all the wrong places type of thing. And just knew that my life was slated for single missionaryhood. And so then when that happened and I had those thoughts, I was like, okay, that's the stupidest thing I've ever thought. And I ain't even looking at this guy. No way, no how. And so he comes over, they all come over. We meet at this house that, at our house. And he's holding the door for his sister. He's tall, dark, and handsome. And I'm just like, nope, doesn't matter.
Going for it. Going for it.
And actually, we didn't really talk that night. A little bit, but not much.
I wasn't going to do it.
No.
Not going to do it, folks, because I'm going to be a single missionary. And I had that weird thought, and I was like, no way. Again, I thought I didn't know a lot about the Holy Spirit and his work in lives at that point because I was a brand new little Christian. So now I know that that was God working in my life.
Well, in fact, the funny thing is, for some reason, I thought you were involved with somebody, so I didn't even think to pursue for whatever reason.
Larry?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah, if I would have known then, but it worked out. They also, I'll kind of take over for a bit, because after that event, your church on Sunday nights were having ice cream socials to raise money for the next event, which was going to Atlanta, Six Flags in Atlanta, for a big Christian youth night concert thing. And my sister and I, because I didn't have a car, so I would ride with her, we would show up on Sunday nights after church for the ice cream social. Well, she got to where she just didn't want to go, or she was busy or whatever, so she quit going, but I kept going. And then we got more involved with it wasn't really a youth group, because you guys were a young adult group. Yeah, young adult. But we do things on Friday nights, like go ice skating, and in the summertime play volleyball. And I just kept sticking around. And it wasn't until we went to Six Flags, right? Yeah, Six Flags, that kind of, I guess that sealed the deal for us.
It was pretty obvious.
Right.
Well, I think before that, I have a girlfriend that, it's kind of hard to say. In 7th grade, I loved this guy.
Oh, yeah.
and she knew that. We were in school together in high school, but this guy also went to our high school. So by the time we're in high school, I told her about this boy in 7th grade, and we had done our science experiment together, and I just loved him. And I had recently heard that he'd gotten saved. And so this was in my last semester of high school after I'd gotten saved. And my friend ended up dating him. And I was just crushed because I had always loved him. And boy, I hope he doesn't listen to this, but I am so glad I ended up not dating him, because I'm not going to be mean, but he kind of ruined her life. I'm just going to leave it there.
Well, yeah. And the two of you had the same personality, so it would have been like
a disaster.
Yeah, it would have been good.
A disaster. So. And it wasn't good for her either. He was just kind of possessive and controlling, and there were some things, and I'm not quite sure he was saved. I don't get to judge that. That's God's job. But anyway, I am so thankful it didn't work out like that. And so our young adult leader, Joel, he had said, Pam, that Larry guy, he's pretty nice. You better, okay, by now my friend had broken up with this boy because he did kind of ruin her life. And he said, this guy, Joel, said, you better maybe, I don't know, grab that guy up before your friend, I'm not going to say her name, your friend gets him like she got the last one. And I still wasn't really wavering, because I was like, nope, single missionary. I still had my heart set on that. And I wasn't really going that way. But this Six Flags trip did it. I can't remember exactly the whole steps, all the culmination of that, but we knew on that trip.
It wasn't like we dated. We did things as a group with the church. Neither one of us grew up in a house that, I mean, when my parents got saved and they kind of had this rule about no dating until you're 18, but you were still allowed to date. But we didn't date. We didn't go on our first date until after. We were pretty set that we were going to be together and get married.
You think so? I don't remember it that way. I remember thinking, is this guy ever going to ask me out? We're all doing all this stuff together. I mean, I think we knew that we really liked each other, but I don't know that.
Well, because I
knew I was going to marry you because God already told me. But
so when we were at Six Flags, can you think of like the one thing where we just really clicked, that like an event? Because I can't. It just seemed like it just.
I know. It just was
flowed. It was just such a natural
it was just supposed
connection.
To be.
And
we were cutting up, goofing off, poking each other. Oh my goodness, we made everybody
we're so
sick. Sick around us. Hey, for all you people out there listening, you young people, when two people are like cutting up together and all that, and it's sickening, just enjoy it for them, okay? They're in love.
Just grin and bear it.
Just roll with it. It might happen to you one day too.
Yeah, maybe. Well, everything was going great, and life was wonderful. But like in the movies, when life is going wonderful and it's great, tragedy strikes.
Dun, dun, dun.
And tragedy struck. Because you left me. She did. She left me. She went away to college. Yeah. Only an hour away, but it might as well have been, another state, but still,
So dramatic.
It was an hour away. We did, but you came home every weekend.
Yeah, because I had the car.
Yeah, and I still didn't have a car. I didn't have a car until we got married.
Yeah, then you crashed it.
Actually,
no, right before we got married, you crashed my car.
I did.
It wasn't his fault, though.
So we were, like I said, we weren't dating. But we did things as a group, and we just clicked. We connected, and we realized, hey, I don't know. I mean, I like I said, I can't point to one event, or we just, when we met each other, we knew, and it was great. Like I said, and then you went to college.
My microphone keeps wiggling, I think, because you're.
Oh, I'm sorry. All righty, I'll sit properly.
It's okay.
So it was. You went away for 1 year, and then it was summer. Birthday's in July. I won't give the date so that the mathematicians will figure out your age. Anyway, I was going to throw her a surprise party. And of course, it didn't quite work out the way I envisioned it. Yeah. However, the party wasn't the big surprise.
But I thought it was.
She thought it was. And she goes in, everybody says surprise.
Wait. Tell them all first that there was a miscommunication and I went to your parents' house.
Right, yeah. It was the party was going to be at my parents' church. Everybody was going to park at my parents' house. And then we'd have one car right up to the church, shuttle people back and forth. So that, because I lived in an apartment near the church, actually the church owned the duplex, and that's where I lived. And it was right next door. Anyway.
Well, I didn't get the message to go to the church hall. I went to their house.
Right.
And so there are like 40 cars out there. And I go in thinking, oh my goodness, what is going on here? And there's not a soul. And so I'm looking around thinking, everybody's going to jump out at me any second. Hello, hello, all through the house.
Well, anyway.
Nobody was there.
So go to the church building. And she's like, oh, he can't surprise me. I knew. I figured it out. And it's like, oh, yeah. So things are going on. And then all of a sudden, I surprised her.
He got down on one knee. And I was like, whoa, I guess.
That's right.
I guess you can surprise me. Didn't see that coming.
So that was in July. You didn't go back to that same school. You went for one semester to the school I was going to.
Mm-hmm.
We planned the engagement for the next summer when I graduated. That way, school's over, all that. However, part of my graduation, I had to do a field study course in the Grand Canyon. There was no credit, or there wasn't a pass or fail. You just had to do it. You had to go. It was a hiking trip in the Grand Canyon. We hiked for a week, right?
Right.
And then we went to Yosemite National Park, and we hiked there for a couple days.
Well, and by this time, when we're planning our wedding, we're realizing, oh my goodness, no way. We're going to be on that trip together as unmarried right after college, right after you graduated. And I was like, not happening, because that trip was in May, right, when you graduated.
Yep.
And we weren't planning to get married until June. And I was not taking my own tent and all that.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. It was hard enough what I did.
That was going to be weird. Yeah.
I know. And for us to be planning our wedding and then getting married right when we got back, and all, we were like, there's a Christmas break.
So, yeah. So we decided to get married in between. And you weren't planning on going back the next semester to school.
I had gotten my MRS degree at that point.
Yeah, you'd already decided.
To.
Yeah, you got your degree.
You think everybody knows what that is? MRS degree.
Maybe they could. I
you
think they'll figure it
ladies
out.
get
I
it?
keep using the word.
I don't think
it means what you think it means.
Mrs.
So anyway, we met with my parents. We took them out one night and said, told them our plans. My mom was upset. Now it's going to sound like maybe we were rebellious, but we weren't.
We knew.
Now I want to say this too, just for clarification. I was living on my own. I was paying my way through college.
I was working.
My parents weren't supporting me. They weren't supporting us either.
Nope.
We weren't asking them for money. The only thing we were asking them for was for their blessing, let them know what our plans were and why. And my mom was a little upset.
Why was she upset, though? Do you remember why?
She didn't think I was going to finish school.
And not many in your family had ever finished college.
Right.
Or none at that point, maybe.
Now, for me, it was actually easier. That second semester was easier.
Way
easier, because my attention I wasn't as distracted. So,
right.
Yeah. So I did finish school, did the Grand Canyon trip. And there's some funny stories that happened there. There's some things we learned about each other and there's some things you learn about each other on a trip like that. There's some things we've learned.
Well, early marriage too.
Early marriage.
Get to learn a lot about each other.
I would say for younger couples just starting out and getting married, you're going to get a little flustered, because as much as you think you know someone, you really don't. Until you live with them. And then...
No.
Yeah, then it's like, who is this person? What did I get myself into?
He's saying that like from my point of view.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. That's because, One of the things I'll say, I wish I would have learned this earlier. Guys, you need to listen to your wife. There's sometimes when she says something, it's for a reason. You may not understand it. You may want to argue with her, but she may know things that you don't or have.
Am I right or am I right or am I right?
I'll say this. This is a funny story. Okay, so where we lived Pam actually moved into the duplex. This was a tiny duplex.
Sit and spin kitchen.
Maybe 600 square feet.
Maybe. If
that big.
Cozy. Let's just call it cozy and quaint.
It was quaint and cozy.
And it was.
More like old and roach infested.
Oh.
But cozy and quaint sounds much nicer.
But yes, definitely roach infested. I want to tell about the roach.
Okay, but let me finish. So I had a washer machine, no dryer. Well, actually, I was ahead of my time. I had a solar and wind dryer. It's called a clothesline. We were going to go somewhere. I had a nice pair of jeans hanging on the line to dry.
If I remember correctly, your only pair of jeans at that point.
Yes, it was. You're right. And we were going to go out somewhere. I don't even remember where.
Church.
Okay. It's funny you remember that.
I know. Because you wouldn't listen to me.
Right. She goes, I think you should take those lines off, those jeans off the line before somebody steals them. I'm like, who's going to steal a pair of jeans off the line? We kind of got in a little argument, a tiff maybe. And I won. I left the jeans hanging on the line for somebody else to come take. Because when we got back, they were gone. I didn't know there was somebody in our neighborhood that was the same size as I was, but apparently there was. So I wish that was another.
It's okay. We had tons of money. We just went and bought you more.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The thrift store.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was pretty tight back then.
Yeah.
So.
Anyway.
But same for me. I had to
Okay.
learn to listen to you. It's not just women who have an intuition or sixth sense.
Well, speaking of getting to know each other, this ties it. Go back to the roach story because
Oh, yeah.
I like to joke around, and practical jokes. Now, as long as they're
Not my thing necessarily.
not as long as somebody's not getting hurt, but just fun, practical jokes.
I mean, I do like some of that, but not when it included roaches. When I was living in a roach-infested duplex.
So I'll tell this story because
Okay.
I like this is funny. So we had, like I said, we lived in a quaint, cozy little duplex, aka roach-infested, old rundown.
That had
duplex.
a swatter right by the door that when we walked in and turned the light on, I started swatting the roaches.
Right. Every time we walked in the house, in the kitchen. So I had bought this rubber roach. It looked real. It looked really real. It was awesome. It was a lot of fun. I had taped it onto the outside of the cabinet. I still remember this day. I was laughing so hard.
Hilarious.
It looked like it was running up the cabinet, so it was crawling on the outside. We came home. She flipped on the light. She saw that thing. She grabbed the swatter, and she swatted that thing 4 or 5 times. And it didn't die.
No. It
No.
stayed right there until
I
I
was-
grabbed it off and
I
threw
was
it out the back door
yeah.
into the dark night.
I was laughing so hard. It's
He
hysterical.
opens the back door. My roach.
Yeah, I found it. I had some more fun with that, but that's a different story. But not with Pam. I learned, she didn't find it as funny as I did.
Oh, yeah, when you gave somebody their change and you put the roach on top of it.
Oh,
And they
yes.
didn't realize he had given them the change. They were talking, and then they looked down, and they saw the roach on top of their money, and they threw the money everywhere.
Yeah, it was my mom.
Well, I wasn't going to say, but
She didn't find it as funny as I did
No,
either,
she
but
didn't.
it was hysterical. Anyway. Yeah, so that's how we kind of started. I like to do like a little jump and scare. She doesn't like that either. I learned that the hard
No.
way.
And I won't jump and scare you either,
Right.
because I don't like it.
Right.
You know, same medicine, all that. You want a dose of your own medicine or whatever they say.
The other thing we learned as in our early marriage was some jobs, if you don't like them, usually the other person, they don't mind or they do like them. Like Pam didn't like to cook,
It's because I was never taught to cook.
and I did.
You want to tell
I
the
enjoyed-
pizza story? That's always fun.
Do you want me to tell it? You tell
Sure,
it.
you tell it. You tell it so well.
So Pam didn't grow up in a home where her mom cooked. Hardly ever. Mostly takeout or frozen.
Canned.
Yeah. She was going to cook a frozen pizza for us one night. Just the two of us have a nice little dinner. I had to run down to my parents' house, who lived about a mile away. And I said, hey, put the pizza in the oven. By the time I get back, it'll be ready. We can eat dinner. And it'll be good. So, okay. I go down, come back, open the door. I said, oh, no. You burnt the pizza. She goes, no, I didn't. The timer didn't even go off yet. Like, it's burning. I opened the door, and I started laughing because turns out that cardboard tray that the frozen pizza comes on is not a cooking tray. She didn't know that. Burnt the cardboard. It almost caught on fire. So,
I don't know. I thought that's pretty cool. They gave us a cooking tray.
so the other thing we learned,
Wait, that pretty much sums up how well I cooked
yeah,
for the whole first 6 years.
pretty much, yeah.
But you
Baby
cooked so well.
steps.
Baby steps.
Baby steps.
We learn to do the jobs that we like to do and let the other person do the jobs they like to do. Like, I can do like budgeting and financing. I can do those things. I don't like them. I just don't. And it's boring. It's tedious. And I was working full time. I didn't like it. And bills weren't getting paid. There were late fees. And I was trying to be the man, to take care of the money and
Well,
be
I
in
think
charge.
we both thought that. Like as young
Right.
Christians, we were thinking, isn't the man supposed to take care of the bills? And I knew that I had the propensity for it more than you. And so we didn't know. We didn't
Right.
know. We thought that's just something that you're supposed to do. Well, he wasn't very good at it.
No,
so.
I wasn't.
And I am pretty good at it.
Yeah,
So
it's because I didn't like it, and I
we
didn't
just
want to do it.
learned to work within our skill set.
So, yeah. So we switched. I would do the cooking. She'd do the cleaning. I would earn the money, and she'd take care of the money. And
Symbiotic.
And it's worked out great since then. So just to wrap things up here real quick, I'd say we've just had our 30th anniversary, and it was a great night. We spent the night.
No, don't tell him. Just make him wonder.
Well, no, I think this is great. How we spent the night.
Well, I don't think it's...
We spent the night on the beach, watching the sunset, having a nice meal, right? Don't you remember?
I just don't want to brag.
Well, that's true. Actually, we went to a nice restaurant. We walked in. They must have known we were coming, maybe because they said, "Welcome to Moe's." That's where we spent our evening on our 30th.
Not everybody knows what Moe's is, but anyway.
You'll figure it out. You Google it.
A quaint little Southwest joint.
Yeah.
We'll call it quaint.
Anyway, so that was our story. 30 years of marriage, and we've had our ups and downs, but we're still happy, and we're looking for another 30 years, hopefully, or longer. So
that's funny. I think, yeah.
And I want to say,
I feel like we could say a lot more.
Well, there's a lot more we can say, but
we
hopefully
probably better just
hopefully
wrap
enjoy
it up.
this. Yeah, we're
getting the numbers from the producer. It's probably time to wrap this party up.
Making fun. We were laughing at Mike and Sarah, but no, actually, we want to say thanks to them for letting us take over their
Hijack
podcast.
your show.
Hijack the show, and for those of you who are waiting for a podcast to hear Mike speak and pontificate on a deep theological subject, that'll be next week. So.
For now, thanks for listening to us. And we hope it's been encouraging, especially for a lot of you young people that might be listening. It's fun. It's a fun ride. It could be just some great times together, cut up, enjoy each other, communicate, learn.
Yeah, we wanted to give our story just to show a sort of a contrast between Mike and Sarah's, because we had different backgrounds and different family dynamics where we came from. But Christ can work a miracle and change lives and change marriages.
Yep. But for his grace, we would have been on a totally different path. Yep. So very thankful for that.
Yep. So thank you all. Until next week.
You've been listening to the Mike Charleston Podcast.